Hey everybody, Bungzy here with another ultralight review on ultralight backpacking. If you haven't seen it already, I have a B-roll video out there from a few weeks ago with tons of close-ups of the new Palante V2. The link is up there, over there, I don't know, somewhere up there. The material choices and attention to detail on this pack is like no other. This earlier video I mentioned gives you tons of close-ups you probably won't see anywhere else. It's a great pack with interesting material, just like its predecessor. You already know that. Today, though, I have some experience and observations to share with you on this pack. Shall we? Okay, so this is in no particular order. The hip belt buckle came wrongly installed. One side wasn't properly threaded and came right off, and the other half of the buckle was upside down. Easy fixes, obviously, but I just wanted to make sure you looked for this, should you order one. Sticking to the hip belt and buckle, the strap is super long, so as to accommodate all of us, obviously. It is also unfinished, with no fold at the end to stop the buckle from sliding off. I highly recommend trimming the belt. This will save you a bit of weight, obviously, and it will keep the excessive material out of your way. Some important advice, though. When trimming the belt, be sure to fill your pack before marking the excess. If you don't, you will end up cutting off more belt than you should. Don't do this with the pack empty. You've been warned. You will then want to melt the edges and then fold and stitch the ends so that the buckle doesn't slide off as it otherwise will. As I mentioned, so even if you don't trim the hip belt, realize you risk losing a buckle as it could slide right off. There's no fold or stopping mechanism otherwise. The belt is awesome. I stressed the importance of a hip belt in my past review on the original Simple Pack. If you have anything less than a perfect back, a belt is invaluable for transferring weight off of your shoulders and instead onto your hips, and subsequently relieving spine compression. Again, if you have anything less than a perfect back, it doesn't matter how low your base weight is. If you have to carry a lot of food and or water, which could outweigh your gear, in fact. The belt is everything to me. The lack of a belt is a deal killer for me, as I don't have a great back. I suffer with a beltless pack, regardless of my base weight. Okay. Now, and the hidden belt stash pockets, which are right there, they're awesome. I use them when I'm using the pack for travel. It makes this pack a travel or everyday pack as well. I highly recommend you opt in for the belt. You'll regret not getting it. It's not something that can be added after the fact, especially with the belt pockets. Let's now talk about the side squeeze hook attachments. There they are. This I actually have concerns about. It appears to me that the seam around the cord anchors on the side is stretching and risking coming apart. In fact, I found another early adopter of the pack whose seam did in fact come apart because of this. Is this a deal killer? Of course not. Here are my suggestions. Whether you take it to a tailor or just do it yourself, turn your pack inside out and put some extra stitches across where the loop is attached on the inside, both on this side as well as that side. That way it's not relying on the same singular stitch that is holding these panels together. I also strongly suggest getting yourself a longer cord, which is what I did here. This will take even more pressure off of the stitch, plus give you more carrying flexibility. Again, this is not an either or. You need to reinforce the anchor points. Moving on, I love the longer shoulder strap options. If you think you might be on the cuff, go longer. The reason I say this is that it's not only more comfortable, but it keeps the shoulder strap pockets more accessible. Otherwise, they may end up sitting too high, almost sitting on your shoulders, especially if you're getting the hip belt. With the hip belt engaged, you're likely going to wear the pack lower than you would otherwise, thus requiring you to loosen or lengthen the shoulder straps. Now let's talk about the big front pocket. This is more an FYI than a criticism, but this stretchy material is far tighter and less giving than any front pocket netting or stretch material I've ever owned or seen, in a significant way. We all keep different gear and amounts of gear in the outside pocket. Point is if you keep a ton of stuff in your current pack outside pocket, you may not be able to fit it so well in the V2. There are no pleats and the material is just really unforgiving relative to other stretchy pocket material. On the plus side, this material seems to be super durable. Again, not a criticism per se, just an observation I think you should all be aware of. Let's talk about the pack closure system. Most every video I've seen shows the guys first buckling the top and then rolling it before they then cinch down the collar with the top strap. I suggest doing the opposite. Roll the collar down and then buckle. I find it's a little roomier and easier to close. This is how Z-Packs and other open top pack makers have designed their packs to close. Roll, then buckle, not buckle, then roll. Anyways, not a major point. It just buys you a little more room. Also, don't be afraid to just roll and then cinch. Don't even bother with the buckle. This will give you even more room. Doing so really makes you appreciate their choice of this easy on and off metal hook. It's not just aesthetics or a drive to be different. This little hook makes opening and closing your pack easier than just about any other design I've seen, short of maybe a cinch cord. Moving on, these shoulder pockets are amazing. Plenty of other pack makers have shoulder pockets or will sell you shoulder pocket accessories. Nothing comes close to this design. They are the perfect size, perfect placement, perfect material, and perfect closure systems. Leave them open, close them partially, or close them all the way. Whatever works for you in the particular gear you're carrying at that time. While I don't carry my water up here, it's worth noting that a small smart water bottle fits in the shoulder pouch no problem. A couple of my viewers had asked me, so there's your answer. One concern though, I've noticed the stitching starting to come undone on the shoulder pouch. It's not an indictment and certainly an easy fix. Just keep an eye on it. I will. Speaking of pockets and water, the side pockets will hold 2 1-liter smart water bottles easily. What can I say except that this is just another example of attention to detail. Amazing how many pack makers overlook this and design side pockets that won't hold 2 bottles. The bottom stretchy pocket is awesome. You already know that. It's great having an easily accessible pocket dedicated to food and trash. They fixed the problem I noted in my original Simple Pack review. The opening is more tapered and snug, all but eliminating the odds of stuff falling out. And the little trash hole on the other side is genius. This little hole leads to good habits. All trash and other smellables go in one spot, and it makes your nighttime bear bagging chores so much easier. No discovering a misplaced wrapper in your tent after dark with persistent raccoons circling you like a shark. Been there. Let's talk a little bit about the pack's Dyneema material. This is a somewhat complicated subject. The material is seemingly more durable than many cottage packs, maybe all. The material is also waterproof. I love it. But the seams are not taped on this pack, and there are plenty of panels and therefore plenty of seams, which means a material amount of water can seep into this pack, be it rain, creek crossings, or just a good old sweaty back. This too isn't a deal killer. Point is, you need a pack liner, which you'd probably be using regardless. You could try to seam seal it from the outside, but damn, that's a lot of seams. Realize though that there is a weight penalty to pay for this durable waterproof fabric. As small and simple and light as this pack is, it's not the lightest. Gossamer Gear, as an example, has a couple packs lighter. Again, not a criticism, just pointing out that Palante is trying to give us a pack that is both ultralight and durable. Kudos to them. If you're simply looking for the lightest UL pack, this isn't for you. Let's now talk fit. Here's the deal. Overfill this pack, and it will. It is actually uncomfortable. Yep, I said it. This pack is uncomfortable when overfilled. Many of you know this already, but a stuffed frameless pack is an overfilled frameless pack. A stuffed pack completely changes how the pack lays on your back. It's like strapping a barrel to your curved back and shoulders. It just won't lay well. You ideally want an unstructured pack to drape over your back, as much as possible. This will only happen if the pack isn't stuffed, thereby allowing you to bend the pack to your back. On that note, if I had one request for Palante, it would be to add some load lifters to help pull the top of the pack towards your shoulders, as opposed to leaning away from your back, which is where gravity otherwise will want to take this pack if it is overfilled. Bottom line on this point, take the recommended weight limitations of this pack into account, overfill it, and you will grow to dislike it over the course of a long hike. I'm going to show you an example in a sec of how poorly this pack rests if overfilled. I'm going to do so, though, by also talking about the use of bear cans with this pack. Stick with me. Now, Bungzy shows how he packs his bear can in this pack. He basically puts it towards the bottom or middle bottom with all his gear packed around it. First off, he doesn't use a liner. He's just more of a stud than I am. I fear water. He's also keeping his food and their scents with his gear. Again, I'm just not manly enough to do that either. Call me a wimp, but food in one bag and everything else in another, and the two shall never meet. So, when I pack a bear can, it goes towards the top, above my closed pack liner, which contains my extra clothing and quilt. I truly don't see any other responsible way of doing it. And this is what happens to the pack with a bear can towards the top. I don't know which side it's going to be on. It just leans back. And trust me when I say this gets more and more uncomfortable over time. And realize this is one of the smallest bear cans on the market I'm using. It's the lighter one. Again, it's only there if only there were load lifters. Could I follow John's lead, just grow a pair and keep my can in the middle surrounded by my soft clothes and gear? Let's just say yes, but it's still not that comfortable. Some of you kiddos could probably make do, but not this middle-aged guy. I love this pack, but if I have to carry a bear can, I have to go with one of my other packs. And yes, I will shed a tear over the many little features I'll miss so dearly. In fact, I did some digging and found a string where Bungzy himself addressed this. In his words, quote, "Having a bear can in a UL pack is more of a putting up with it sort of thing." He's mostly right. I say mostly because a bear canister is fine in two other UL packs I use, namely a Z-Packs Arc Blast and a Gossamer Gear Kumo. And for those not familiar, the Kumo is an unstructured pack as well, just like this one. The reason it works with a bear can is because it is a little longer and roomier, just a bit. As a result, there's more bend and give to it with a bear can inside than with the simple pack. Well, that's all I have for you so far on this pack. I hope I gave you something to think about. Subscribe to my channel by clicking the Bungzy logo, and I'll catch you on my next ultralight review on ultralight backpacking. See ya.